Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Simply Sports Talk. Today I'm going to be recapping the Jaguars versus the Colts game and why the Jaguars look so great on this day and how special it is that they prevented the Colts from going to the playoffs and how good it feels to prevent a division rival who was getting so close to getting back to the playoffs as they did start off horribly, but they were so close to getting to the playoffs. And it just feels great to know that we're the reason that the Colts did not make the playoffs with them being an in division rival and all. Now, as I mentioned, this was one of the Jaguars' best performances of the season. The Jaguars, the entire season, didn't seem very motivated, and that might have been a result of Urban Meyer. But like I saw one of the people who commented under my post, that being my mom, they might have not been inspired, but they are still paid professionals and paid millionaires. The performance they were putting on week in and week out was not acceptable. It was unacceptable. The performances they gave us, but today they gave us one of the best. They gave us one of the best performances of the season. Both sides of the ball. Most times it'll usually be either the offense comes to play, but the defense doesn't, or the defense comes to play, but the offense doesn't. But in this game, they were both in sync. They were both clicking on all cylinders. Now, as I mentioned, this was one of the best games of the Jaguars, and Trevor Lawrence had an amazing game himself. This was easily one of Trevor Lawrence's best performances of the year. Trevor Lawrence had an amazing game as he put up a stat line of 223 yards, two touchdowns, 23 for 32. At a time, he was 11 for 11 completion, perfect completion with one touchdown, and that was in the beginning of the game. But Trevor Lawrence had an impact on the game. Trevor Lawrence, this looked like one of his best games as every drive felt easy and methodical. As during the season, sometimes it would look like we're struggling to move the ball, and it would look like we struggle, and it's like painful to watch. But this game was methodical. This game was great. And one of the main reasons was the offense looked different. The offense just looked smooth and comfortable in their roles as Marvin Jones stepped up. The stats might not say it. It felt like he had 150 yards, even though he only had 88 yards and one touchdown. It felt like he had 150 yards. He was making some amazing catches and some big boy catches that I was simply impressed. I was like, that's what I'm talking about, Marvin. I know you can do this week in and week out. You got to help this young rookie. He made some big boy catches and he stood out yesterday on the screen. Even though Laviska Shenault, statistically, it looks like he had a pretty good game. But to be honest, I didn't really feel his impact on the field. I didn't feel much of Laviska's impact as he did have two crucial drops, which didn't really impact the outcome of the game. But Laviska Shenault just it didn't feel like he had 62 yards. It more felt like he had 20 yards. And maybe he didn't stand out. Maybe the plays that he did get yards on wasn't that important. But when it came to important plays and big boy plays, Marvin Jones was our guy. Marvin Jones was the man who really stepped up on the offense in terms of the receivers. But like I mentioned, this was one of Trevor's best games. It looked so methodical, and I believe next year he's going to put the NFL on notice because I believe this is a good building block. This is something that he can recall and say, I had an amazing in send off game until my rookie year. I had an amazing last game of my rookie year. After playing the Patriots and getting beat 52-10, it's good to end off on a good note, finishing the season 26-11 against the Colts, which is a divisional rival that we will see frequently. Now, as I said, usually if the offense is clicking, the defense isn't. But this today, the defense was on fire. Today, the defense came to play. And the MVP of the defense today was Josh Allen. Hey, I'm not making no assumptions, but maybe he saw my video. But he hadn't gotten a sack for 7 straight weeks. He goes out there and gets 2 sacks. Josh Allen looked phenomenal. Josh Allen looked amazing. He looked like the talent that we believe that he can actually be. This is what it kind of looks like when a dedicated Josh Allen and a dedicated and motivated Josh Allen wants to play. When he wants to, he can be a game wrecker. He can be a problem. As I said, Josh Allen had 2 sacks. He had an amazing game. He had multiple. I remember Josh Allen on the goal line stopped them from scoring a touchdown. Josh Allen was the man who got the stop from letting them score a touchdown. They were on the 1 yard. Excuse me. They were on the 1 yard line, and Josh Allen was the man who came up with the tackle to prevent them from getting the first to prevent them from getting the touchdown. Josh Allen had a game. I believe he can have games like this all the time, but He has to be motivated. He has to want to do it. As in those last 7 weeks, I didn't feel like he was very motivated. He was kind of just going through the motions. But in this game, he was like, I'm gonna leave off on a good note. I'm gonna finish the season strong. And I'm proud of Josh Allen for that. But it wasn't just Josh Allen. The defense as a whole played amazing. I remember Tyson Campbell. Jonathan Taylor, I believe, is slightly overrated. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. But Tyson Campbell, a cornerback, he made a big tackle. I remember he made a big tackle. Jonathan Taylor had him on a one-on-one out on the outside of the numbers where he could have easily scored a touchdown on any corner. He's a running back. He's a big guy. Tyson Campbell's he's a small cornerback. Usually that matchup, you're saying, yeah, the running back runs him over, stiff arms him, jukes him, gets him out the way to score that touchdown. But Tyson Campbell made a big boy tackle, and he got him out of bounds. He pushed him out of bounds. The defense as a whole had an amazing game as we had 6 sacks in total. As you know, I claim them to be brothers. They're like brothers on that defense. Smoot, he came up with a sack. Josh Allen, they're like the dynamic duo. They're brothers to me on that defense. They all had amazing games. And we picked up an interception. I thought we had 2, but it looks like we only had 1. But Damian Wilson, he also had an amazing game. Damian Wilson was all over the field, breaking up passes. He got a sack. He had multiple tackles that were important. He had an interception. Damian Wilson also had an amazing game. This defense has potential. We're just missing a few pieces, and I feel like we need to play more inspired week in and week out. But if we got wins, I feel like the defense would come more inspired and more motivated to perform. But if we're losing, they're just going to go through the motions. Personally, because he's a safety and the camera is a certain way, you can't see the safeties that much. But I saw on Instagram, they said Andre Cisco had a game. They said Andre Cisco did good. And I'm actually I don't wish this on anyone. I don't wish injury on anyone, but I'm kind of happy Rashawn Jenkins has not been playing. He hasn't been playing because of his injury. And Andre Cisco, the rookie, has gotten to show what he's made of, and he so far has looked like a pretty good pick. Now, this is all important because I was like, I don't want to win, but I want to be competitive. But when I saw we was winning, I was a little concerned because we've been holding the first pick for a few weeks, and I was like, this is a meaningless win, but a win is still a win. It's great for the city. It's good to end on a good note. It's good to end the season on a good note. But to my surprise, I checked I think it was Fox Sports. It was the Packers versus the Lions, and I was thinking there's no way the Packers win. There's no way the Packers lose. The Green Bay Packers are significantly better than the Detroit Lions. But to my surprise, the Lions were beating the Packers for the majority of the game. Then, when I turned the TV on, the Lions scored, and the Packers had a chance to score. They left the Packers with, I think, over a minute in a timeout to score a touchdown because they scored a field goal. It's 34-30. They scored a touchdown. I'm sorry, they scored a field goal. The Lions scored a field goal, and they gave the opportunity for the Packers to score a touchdown. I saw Jordan Love drive up the field. He got an interception, which is great for us as that solidified that the Lions would get the second pick and the Jaguars would get the first pick. So it was sort of like a win-win week. We not only won a game, an important game, as it prevented our divisional rivals from going to the playoffs, but we also get the first pick in the NFL draft. So it was kind of like a win-win. It was an amazing week to be a Jaguar fan. That's all I could really say about that. But I do believe next season, if the Jaguars want to take steps in the right direction, they will have to sign more veterans. But that's a video for another time that I will possibly be making in the future, why the Jaguars need to sign more veterans. But thank you for watching Simply Sports Talk. This is Ruben signing out. I hope the Jaguars improve next season, and I hope that we can potentially start to make a push for the playoffs. But thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. This is Simply Sports Talk signing out. Bye.